We are the only people here. Oh no. Guys, there's 2 minutes until showtime and we're still the only people in here. Oh no.
All right, guys, it's been a couple of days. Let's get into my thoughts on Snow White. And before we begin, I should probably say that this might not be a spoiler-free review, so if you do not want spoilers, I would go ahead and scroll and come back to this after you've seen it. Thanks! So as we were leaving the theater, I think the best way we could sum this up is it's giving indigestion. But that's not to say that it did not have its strong points. So we're going to go ahead and hit the things that I loved about it first, and then we'll get into the rougher parts of it after that. So start with the good things. Number one on that list for me has to be Rachel Zegler. I know that she was getting a lot of hate online for a lot of different reasons, but she put in a fantastic performance. Honestly, the cast as a whole, I honestly think really did everything they could with what they were given, and that includes Gal Gadot. I know that she's been getting a lot of hate online for her performance, but I honestly think she did what she could with what she was given. But Rachel Zegler really was a standout performance in this. She did kind of save it to a certain extent, what she could. I also really liked some of the things they changed and added about the story. Now, that is not to say that I don't love the original. The original is one of my favorite Disney movies for so many reasons that we can get into in another video. But I liked the changes they made. I enjoy it when they do a live action remake and they actually kind of give it its own vibe. They change some things, they turn it around in certain areas, and they make it fresh. So I really liked the changes they made in this. Particularly, I liked the change with Jonathan, who's the new love interest as opposed to the prince from the original. I really enjoyed his character. I liked their relationship. I liked the way they played off of each other. So I really, really enjoyed that new look at the romantic dynamic. Now, here is where we get into the hit or miss area before we get to the bad. The songs were very hit or miss for me, but the ones that hit really hit. I absolutely loved Waiting on a Wish. I thought that was a beautiful song, and Rachel Zegler really just ate that up. She did absolutely fantastic. It was a beautiful song, and it really stuck with me throughout the rest of the movie. There are movies you go to where it's like, oh, okay, song ended, I immediately forgot that. I loved Waiting on a Wish. I also really, really liked Hand Meets a Hand, which is the song that they added for Snow and Jonathan that was just so cute. I loved the harmony in it. I love the way they played off of each other. I thought it was really, really great. So those two songs, really, really strong points for me. Okay, so here is where we get into the rougher parts of the movie. These are the cons. These are the things that I did not enjoy. The first thing, and this might seem unimportant to some people, but wardrobe. Wardrobe for me was a really hard point. When we first saw pictures, the promotional pictures, they made it look like they were putting Snow White in this like kind of chiffon skirt. They went with the top and all of that. And it looked pretty good. When we got into the movie, it wasn't that. Looked like it was cheap tulle. It looked stiff. It looked like somebody went to Bippity Boppity Boutique, ripped the skirt off of one of the Snow White costumes and made it longer. It did not hit for me. It was honestly really distracting, especially with how bright it was. And there were scenes where she's running through the woods trying to hide from guards. And I'm like, girl, people are going to be able to see you within a 12-mile radius in that skirt because it was just jarringly bright. As my daughter said, it was atrocious. It was just very, very distracting. This also went for some of Gal Gadot's costumes, which was a shame because they honestly started off really strong with both the Queen and with the peasant Snow White costume. Really, really strong points, and it all went downhill from there. By the end of the movie, they put Gal in this really like gaudy kind of like neck piece, but the jewels looked like they went to Pieces of 8 at Disneyland and just grabbed a handful of those cheap, souvenir kind of gems and glued it to her neck. it was very distracting with the costumes, and that doesn't just go for costumes. There were also cheap things about some of the pieces, the props that they used. One of them, the box that Snow White's heart is supposed to go into, looked like it was 3D printed. It cheapened the overall production when you look at these pieces that are some of the only pieces that are actually there, because everything is CGI, and we'll get into that in a second. But when you have so few things that are actually practical, you need those to look good, and they didn't, and it just cheapened the entire look of the movie. And that leads me to the excessive use of CGI in this. Almost everything was CGI, and it was absolutely distracting. We've all talked about the dwarves. The dwarves were very uncanny valley. They were terrifying. It took us 3/4 of the movie not to jump when they came on screen. The writing for them was pretty good. I will stand by that. I do not put this on the actors who were doing the voices, but the design of them was not good. They really should have cast actual actors to play the parts. And I know we've all been harping on that, but it really did ring true. Watching it, it rang even more true, and it was pretty rough to look at. All of the animals were CGI, and they tried to do a cartoonish look on them, which was, again, kind of jarring. Everything was CGI, it felt like. And when you go from seeing movies like Wicked, where everything was practical effects, to this, it's very clear that practical effects are the way to go. It did not mesh for me. Now, heading back into the songs, I talked about the ones that hit for me. Now the misses. The misses definitely start off with Where the Good Things Grow, which bookended the movie. It started the movie and it ended the movie. And this song to me just felt so Disney Channel original movie. Like it belonged in, I wouldn't even say a Descendants movie, because Descendants movies have some pretty awesome songs. This one just, it did not hit for me. It did not feel like Disney cinematic quality songs. The next one that definitely was not a hit was All Is Fair, which was performed by Gal Gadot. Again, I do not put this on Gal. This was very much a tone problem. Like when she first started off, it had like this dark, sultry sound. I'm like, ooh, okay, Evil Queen's getting a song, let's go. And then it became, I kid you not, it reminded both of us of like Lord Farquaad's song in Shrek the Musical. Like it got really campy. The choreography was terrible. The writing of the song was terrible. It completely took us out of the entire movie. Like it took us a little bit to get back into the flow of things, because it was so jarring for the tone of the scene, for the tone of the movie. It was not good. And as happens in many movies, a lot of the problems of this come down to writing. Now, my husband did send me like a little cinematic blurb that said that there were like 7 additional writers that were attached to this project at one time or another. 7 dwarves, 7 writers. But anyway, I don't know if that's entirely true. I don't know how accurate that is, but Aaron Cressida Wilson is the only writer that is actually credited on this project. So if there were other writers involved, unfortunately, Wilson's gonna take all of the good and all of the bad. And there's a lot of bad. I have a grudge. You know what you did to Dopey, and I'm not okay with it. But on the whole, we had a fantastic time. Now, I don't think that was a fantastic time in the way that Disney meant it to be fun. With us being like the only people in the theater, there was one other party that came in like as the movie was starting. So after like the trailers and all of that, but they were far enough away from us that we were able to like sit there and kind of whisper to each other and have our own little comedy hour, quietly in the back of the theater. And that made it quite fun. So again, one of the best movie experiences of my life, but not for the reasons that Disney would want it to be. But what are your thoughts on Snow White? Have you seen it? Are you going to see it? If you have, what did you think? I would really love to hear in the comments below. And as always, follow for more Disney facts and fun.